All right. It is that time of the week once again. Welcome to the MCT podcast. Michael is taking his time, he's having all kinds of issues. It's fine. We'll just mute him. Can we just cut him? Well, it's fine.
Yeah.
We'll just cut him today.
Do it.
Wait. Whoa.
All right. So
Bye-bye.
Oh my God. This is going to be a fun one. I already get this vibe that this is going to be a fun 90 minutes. Oh, excuse me. All right. Jumping right into it, guys. This was a fun week in sports. I feel like a lot happened. I don't really know. I feel like we might get into it. So I feel like Michael's background is hinting at something, and I feel like my hat is hinting at something, and I feel like Todd is just no fun and doesn't participate in things. And we'll get to that as well.
Sports betting.
Don't worry. We will get to that. I promise you all. I know our poor producer, who does not exist, his emails have been flooded with why is Tade not like as into this, as hype, as talkative as the other two? He's being dragged through this. Everyone asks, is Tade okay? Is he being held hostage in this separate room?
I'm at gunpoint over here. Just tell me, lose money now. Lose it.
So we're gonna get right into recapping our picks from last week. If you all remember, obviously we do this every week. I was excited last week. I took my Cubs over Joe Madden's Angels. The big bats of that Angels lineup. I said it didn't matter. The Cubs, spring training or not, they're going to show up and show out, and they're going to win this one handily. And So I don't know what's going on. We can just I was told to cut this, so we just the Cubs were going to win, so we'll just go with the Angels won. So no, they got absolutely shelled. The Angels had a 10-run second inning to blow it open. The final score ended up being 15-7 in favor of those Angels. So kudos to them for the meaningless spring training win. Way to waste your guys' offense. Cubs are out here playing chess and saving it, but whatever. So that drops me back to 500. I'm 3-3 on the the season, if you will. So I'll look to get some revenge on that one, as my Cubs did not show up when I put the spotlight on them.
I mean, I didn't do that much better because I'm sure people remember that y'all were giving me some crap about picking a college game after we just talked about how we shouldn't be picking college games since they're a toss-up. But I'm like, no. My last college game pick was right. It's also the only one I got right. So I'm going to double dip, and we're going to see how this thing works. And then the St. Bonaventure Bonnies, they let me down. They let me down. But it's all right. You made it to the dance. You made it farther than anybody expected you to. It's okay.
You won more games than Ohio State. So,
that is true.
No one hang that banner. Hang that banner.
Michigan's going to win it all, Michael. It's okay. Michigan will win it all, everybody.
I just got to drink some water really quick.
Okay, so Michael and I both missed on our picks of the week last week. Tade, please give us some good news. Please say we didn't have an offer.
Well, unfair for me. LeBron James has a high ankle sprain in the game before the game he was supposed to play that I picked, the Lakers versus the Phoenix Suns. So a Lakerless, AD-less Lakers up against a strong, healthy Phoenix Suns team is just unfair for me. An unforeseeable incident, if you would say. So now I am 2-3-1 on the year. The one being the COVID cancellation of my game. So wonderful news for all of us here.
Michael, I don't.
0-3.
Michael, I don't think you. I don't think you let us know what your record is. I don't remember. What's your pick record
Michael,
looking like now?
What's your record, buddy?
So we're gonna talk about T.Y. Hilton now. So if you guys couldn't tell from my wallpaper back here, the man that I had been saying the Colts needed to make sure they keep, and that is the ghost T.Y. Hilton, my favorite player in this current Colts roster, re-signed a 1-year, $10 million deal to give Carson Wentz another weapon and help shore up this Colts receiving core. And apparently, I know he did an interview with Pat McAfee, and he said that he turned down bigger offers with bigger signing bonuses. He said that he would have made more money signing on the dotted line at that moment than he's going to make his entire year with the Colts. But Reggie Wayne stepped up and helped kind of draw him back to Indianapolis and gave him credit on that. So shout out Reggie Wayne. Another one, just legendary Colts players, making sure that the Ghost stays home where he belongs. Now, gentlemen, this is huge for everyone in the city of Indianapolis. And like I said earlier, especially for Carson Wentz. So I want to know how you guys think this impacts the odds on the Colts winning the AFC South.
Oh, I mean, I think it's huge for this team as a whole. I mean, to kind of shift it real quick to baseball, I'm not going to lie. It kind of reminds me of going into the 2016 season for my Chicago Cubs. Everything was going right for them. No, for real. Everything was going right for them. They had all their pieces kind of intact, but Dexter Fowler was not expected to be there. He was a free agent that year. And then all of a sudden the report came out, and you know what team he actually almost signed with? Almost signed with Baltimore. You know who T.Y. almost signed with over the Colts? Baltimore. So suck it. There's another comparison. Michael, you're getting all salty with me. But, you know, one of the greatest free agent moments, especially in this current, you know, social media age where news breaks right away, you can't really nobody's really surprised by anything anymore. It all kind of happens, you know, at the speed of light. This report comes out that, hey, the Orioles signed Dexter Fowler to like a 3-year big contract, $40-some million, if I remember right. And then all of a sudden, like in less than half an hour later, all of a sudden, like other stories start coming out and they're like, oh no, that deal's not final yet. Hold off. And then all of a sudden, the Cubs are at camp, right? We're a week before opening day. The Cubs are basically in camp. And then all of a sudden, here comes Dexter Fowler into camp, onto the field. And my favorite part of this whole story is that most of the teammates like Rizzo and Bryant and all those guys are like, oh man, this is kind of cool. We're getting one last moment with Dexter Fowler before he leaves. Like he's coming to say goodbye. Nobody knew. And then he gets into the circle and he's like, I'm back. And everyone just lost their minds. And then the rest is history. And this kind of has that kind of feel really for this Colts team who needs a veteran presence. If you look at that receiving core, just look at that receiving core with and without T.Y. Hilton. And that tells you the biggest difference on this team offensively. If you don't have Hilton right now on paper, Michael Pittman coming into a second year becomes your number one guy, which he very well may be, but he isn't right now. You've got Pittman and then, oh my God,
Pascal.
why am I drawing blank? Pascal. And if Paris Campbell can stay healthy, you have some pieces there and you're like, that's not great. You really need a guy. But then all of a sudden you throw T.Y. Hilton back in the fold and boom, that receiving room looks amazing. You've got T.Y. Hilton now at the 1 and still running his slot. You have Michael Pittman on the outside, still growing, learning, coming into his role. And then Pascal doing his thing. And Paris Campbell takes even a bit of a lesser role to hopefully stay healthy and just get him on the field for 16 games. All of a sudden, you've got 4 solid receivers and a good, strong-armed quarterback that I know Tade doesn't like, but a strong-armed quarterback who isn't afraid to sling the ball around with an offensive line that's going to protect him. I mean, this offense now really kind of takes fold, and they haven't added pieces outside of re-signing their guys. It's incredible. It really is, again, another nod of the cap to Ballard for not blinking and for one, paying his guys and not blinking and overpaying either.
I'd just like to point out a comparison here first.
Here we go.
Carson Wentz is an injured young Andy Dalton. Looks and everything. At least we're not the Bears hiring Andy Dalton.
How many crappy Bengals teams did Andy Dalton drag to the playoffs?
That is a very good point.
They were pretty crappy. Then again, they never won. They never got out of the first round. It's not Andy Dalton's fault. That's the Marvin Lewis effect. How many crappy Bears
might as well be Nate McMillan
Trubisky dragged to the playoffs?
1.
Yeah.
And how many good Bears teams dragged him to the playoffs? 1. Evens out.
4.
So, Chris, when are we starting the MC podcast? Since
right.
Over here is just a Wednesday
already. Oh.
Okay, so
wait.
So
also, T.Y. Hilton, it should have been 3 years, 18 million.
Should have
been nice.
So
I'm mad about 10 million.
But with the cap and the situation being what it is, it was pretty much always going to be a 1-year deal, especially if he was coming back to Indy for Ballard. Ballard wasn't going to give him that long contract this year and even overpay. And T.Y. wasn't going to sign a 3-year contract to come back here when the money was going to be so low if he signed it today. Whereas he can sign this 1-year, $10 million contract today. And if he still feels like, hey, I got a year or two left in the tank, Ballard's going to pay him again. And then he'll get a 2-year, $28 million deal.
Was he making
and
like
get
$11 million last year?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I could not tell you.
I feel like it was
off the top of my head.
I think it was 9.5 actually.
9.5. Oh, it's a little bump for him.
The last note I want to make on TY, and we can talk some more if you guys have anything else to say. The last thing I want to do is I did a quick search. I wanted to look at Indianapolis Colts all-time receiving leaders in receiving yards. And leading the way, shocker, 1 and 2 is Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne. Raymond Berry is 3rd with 9,200 yards. T.Y. Hilton is 4th with 8,800 yards. So he is probably going to take the place of Raymond Berry, and then you're going to all of a sudden, your top 3 in Colts history are guys that we have all watched for basically their whole careers. How crazy is that? And T.Y. Hilton, a guy that was drafted out of FIU, a 4th rounder, drafted to be a punt returner because of his speed, all of a sudden now has a chance to be a top 3 all-time receiver in Colts franchise history, and just obviously beloved by all. I mean, the Twitter campaign Bring T.Y. Home brought me to actual tears, because that was just so – you just don't see that anymore. You just don't see movements like that that's so pure and whole, and reasons why we love sports. It wasn't one of those movements where you saw half the room say Bring T.Y. home, and then the other half say, I could leave him. I mean, it was every Colts fan that saw was all in on it. Was here's videos, here's pictures, here's something T.Y. Hilton highlights, why I love him. I mean, you just did stories and stories and stories, and he even acknowledged it in his tweet. And he said, the fans in the city, this is my city, this is the city I love. This city has loved me and embraced me, and we have, and it's just incredible. And I'm so, so, so glad that I don't have to see him in another jersey, at least for another year, and hopefully ever. And I tweeted it myself. I said, you know what, this feels really special, and this feels like a special year for the Colts and for the Ghost. So the question, how does it impact their odds on the South? I mean, it's a shot in the arm to this Colts team to get him back. I'm telling you, I said it before without them, and now that they've got him, I'm telling you, this is a 12-13 win Indianapolis Colts team that is going to take this AFC South. I'm telling you right now, book it. They're not winning less than 12 games this year, barring injuries and something crazy. They are right now a 12-plus win team.
So I'm gonna add in that T.Y. and when they announced that he re-signed, I lost my mind. I was so excited. I was really genuinely worried that, Kenny Schefter was going to be able to pull him back in or tweet out that he re-signed somehow before T.Y. did himself. And I was beyond ecstatic. This team, even though Carson Wentz historically has not done well with a smaller, more route efficient receiver, he always goes to guys who can make plays like Deshaun Jackson. And this guy is Deshaun Jackson for him, if not a massive upgrade over Deshaun Jackson, and should be that number 1 target. And it's good, especially if Paris Campbell can stay healthy. This team is going to be something absolutely fierce. And then with Marlon Mack back in the rotation, you're probably going to see Nyheim Hines breaking out wide into a slot role as well. So this team has all the weapons in the world, and now just needs to focus on offensive and defensive line. And this team is going to be terrifying, especially with the Titans. Yeah, the Titans made some moves, but I don't know if they're going to be able to withstand the Ghost, especially if there's any bulletin board material. We all saw what happened when the Texans called out T.Y. Hilton, and he showed up in that clown mask. Still legendary. I don't know if we're going to have time or not. I didn't write this down, but I wanted to know favorite T.Y. Hilton moment.
It has to be I wish I could remember the game and the opponent, but it's got to be the touchdown he caught, the long, like 60, 70-yard touchdown that he caught from Luck a few years ago, and got in the end zone and stood there and then went, hold on, and then rocked the baby because he had just had a kid.
Oh,
that resonates so much. And like, I can just remember being so enthralled in the game itself that I was like, yeah, T.Y. scored a touchdown. Let's go. We're go. And then all of a sudden to have basically everything stop and realize like, wait, I was like, I remember thinking like, wait, he didn't do this. What happened? And then they showed the replay and he's rocking the bait. And I was like, and then when it all clicked, I was just the emotion, just for a regular season game. I don't like that emotion was just unmatched. So that's got to be up there. When I think specific T.Y. Hilton moments, it's that one for sure for me.
Especially since he was almost late to that game, wasn't he? He barely made it in time for kickoff.
Yeah. Because
he said it, and obviously Chuck Pagano was like, "No, you do you. This is above football."
Yep.
And I still remember. I think it wasn't even halftime, and they got that football over to that little girl in the hospital, and that is just still awesome. Tade, what about you, buddy?
Well, it's the same moment. For context, everybody, T.Y. Hilton earlier that morning had just had his first child, a baby daughter, and so it's a very emotional game for him and for all of us as fans because we were just supportive of him. We were wondering why he was even at the game, for God's sakes.
True.
But that's why he was rocking the baby to sleep when he caught that touchdown. Just an FYI, everybody. But yeah, favorite moment for him also. That was just great. Or, him beating Richard Sherman. That works too on Roush.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
See, as a father, I was actually going to take that one, but now I'm not. So
it's great. The two non-dads are like, this one.
I mean, especially since back then, it didn't really click with me. And then now, just like him taking that moment aside, like, hey, showmanship aside, this is for my kid. He said outright before that game, this is for my kid. I'm getting one for my kid. I'm going to have to split it between two. The first one is because the context was hilarious. I went to the Colts-Dolphins game, Andrew Luck's rookie year. It was against Ryan Tannehill, Reggie Bush, and the Dolphins, which that game was electric. It was a lot of fun. Referee had a hot mic on. That was hilarious. Dropped an F-bomb, didn't lose his job. But I still remember there was a couple of drunk guys in front of me in the crowd. And I said, watch, T.Y. Hilton's going to line up in the slot. He's going to run a post, and he's going to catch it over a guy for a touchdown. Lo and behold, he got it over two guys. And the two drunk guys in front of me were like, you're a freaking mind reader. What in the world? Like, do that again.
That's got to be, okay. That's got to feel really good.
It was so much fun. The second
really
one,
good.
I know this is going to resonate in a lot of people's minds. Colts, Chiefs, playoffs, the touchdown bomb to bring us back. That was like the nail in the coffin in that game. And I still just remember hearing the radio call. Luck has Hilton deep. He's got him. Touchdown, Colts, and we are all the way back. And that was just, I'm getting goosebumps right now.
Yeah.
The camera's not going to pick it up. I got goosebumps right now. It's still, I still remember being halfway in that game and watching them come back. And I wrote them off, but I was still going to watch it. It's Colts in the playoffs. I didn't care. And that being the nail in the coffin, I just remember me and a buddy of mine just up, losing our minds, screaming, hugging each other. It was just so much fun in that game. And the fact that I at least have one more year of those moments. Because I remember we were talking about before with Peyton Manning before he left that we didn't really know the golden days were here until they were already gone. I was nervous that we had just had that moment where T.Y. Hilton had reemerged. He got himself out of that slump, and we were going to lose him because I mean, go get your chicken, man. Like go take care of you. But we get one more, and I'm saying this right now. T.Y. Hilton, I will own a white away T.Y. Hilton jersey for the Ghost. Book it. I don't know when it's going to get here. I'm definitely buying one.
I like it
because I need one. My only other white jersey is Curtis Painter, so I definitely need to change that.
Yeah. So, all right. How about this? Do us a favor, guys. If you're watching this, leave us a comment. Tell us your favorite T.Y. Hilton moment. Let's spread the love around. He's back in Indy. If you're a Colts fan, tell us your T.Y. moment. If maybe it's one like Michael had, where you're in the stands and and you felt something was going to happen, and, it's maybe one that doesn't stand out for other people, let us know, please. That would be awesome to get all of those stories. I would love to hear stories. Craig, calling you out. We want to know what your T.Y. Hilton moment is. B. Scott, let us know what's your T.Y. Hilton moment if you've got one. So, yeah. But we are going to shift gears now from the NFL. We weren't even really going to talk the NFL, but that news broke, and we were like, well, screw it. We can't not talk about this. But we're going to talk about I don't know if you guys know, there's this NCAA tournament going on that we didn't actually have last year. It's kind of a new thing. So, but we are not one, but two crazy rounds in deep into this tournament already. If you guys recall, we did set up in collaboration with our 3C Media family, our team members, Craig and B. Scott, and their podcast, set up the 3C Media Tournament Challenge. And through up until right now, going into the Sweet 16, we have 15 brackets in our challenge, that's awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks everybody that joined our bracket. That's shout out. Hopefully someone's going to win a $10 Taco Bell card. So go out there and get it. Let's find out. But right now, first is actually one of my cousins out in Arizona, Ashley Simmons. So congrats to you for a strong start. That's super awesome. Mike, we don't have to talk about where we are, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's fine.
No, that was obviously like a show bracket, right?
Yeah, and we're not, let's just, you know what? Spoiler alert, we are not in first, as I mentioned. So that's about all you need to know. I'm definitely not in debt.
I thought you guys were experts. You guys were experts. You guys said you were.
So
you were amateur.
All right, Tade. So I am 15th out of 15 right now. I've lost my national champion in Illinois before the Sweet 16. Michael is tied for 13th. He has also lost his national champion in Ohio State. Tade is just no fun and didn't even participate. So.
Yeah.
So,
it's okay. I'm making money betting on the underdogs.
Right. Well, everybody was so worried about that. So glad you're making your money betting, Tade. We're all worried. But guys, check this out. We have check that. Speaking of Oral Roberts, we have 4 double-digit seeds in the Sweet 16. And if you do your math, 16 divided by 4, that is 25%. So 25% of the field that's left in this thing are double-digit seeds. We've got the 12-seeded Oregon State University, who had a strong showing, obviously, in the first 2 rounds. They beat number 5 seed Tennessee 70-56, and then 4 seed Oklahoma State 80-70. So they haven't even played a close game in their 2 upsets. Both wins by double digits. But the Cinderella of this tourney, and we're not trying to harp on you, Michael, I promise. But the Cinderella of this tourney, it's 15 seed Oral Roberts University. They come out strong and they beat number 2 seed, the Ohio State, 75-72 in overtime. So think about that. Think real quick. Seriously, think about if you're a 15 seed, right? You're in the big dance. You're playing Ohio State. Like, that's a blue chip basketball program as it comes. That's a big time program. You're playing a tight game. You're hitting shots. You're getting stops. And then all of a sudden it goes to overtime. And not only overtime, but you have to pause, right? You got to go to commercial break. You get a timeout. You regroup yourself. Remember, you're playing an Ohio State team. This is a championship level team. They know what to do in overtime. Like, they know how to handle themselves in this spot, in overtime, at the tournament, in the big dance. Oral Roberts, coming into the tournament, had never won a tourney game, guys, ever.
It's because it's Oral Roberts.
Oh, so like, it's the beautiful, crazy part of this tournament that you get a 5-minute period, do or die, and the team that has the team that's got no expectations, no pressure, plays loose, comes out in that overtime, and doesn't exactly run away with it. It ends up being a 3-point game, and as Michael told us in the chat, like, Ohio State had a shot to tie it, to send it to a double overtime, and they missed a 3.
Twice.
Twice. So how great! That's just insane that Oral Roberts hangs on, finds a way, the way, whatever it is, to beat Ohio State. and get that overtime win. And then they follow that up with a strong comeback win over 7-seeded Florida by a score of 81-78. So both of their games that they've won were one-possession games to make it to the Sweet 16. And did you guys know they are just the second ever 15 seed to make it to the Sweet 16? Can you tell me the first one without looking at the outline because it's in there?
CJ McConnell's team?
No.
Not Lee? Whatever it was? No.
Lehigh?
Yeah, not them.
No. Nope. They were a 15 seed that beat Duke, but they lost in the second round. Michael, do you have a guess?
Without cheating?
Florida Gulf Coast?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Dunk City. That's right.
Dunk City. So 2013, Florida Gulf Coast, a.k.a. Dunk City, they beat Georgetown and San Diego State to advance to Sweet 16, where they did eventually lose. But they were the first 15 seed to ever make it. So, guys, two 15 seeds have made it to the Sweet 16. That was a fun year. But only two 15 seeds have ever made it this far, and both of them have come in the last decade. How crazy is that?
It's just been insane. This entire tournament has been – I mean, it showed us how much we've missed this the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And
I really think somehow the basketball gods or whatever it is are like, hey, we missed a year. We've got to put as much crazy as we missed in that year into this year with the crazy that would have been in here. So we got to double it up somehow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have not disappointed. So shout out basketball gods for making this a fun one.
I want to shout out at least one team. I know it didn't end the way they wanted to.
Yeah.
But that win – ACU versus Texas.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That was so much fun. But I mean, as I told Chris, like, how do you have a man named Reggie Miller on your team playing in Indianapolis and not show up in the clutch? That man is barely 6 foot.
Yep.
Throwing himself up against their center, who is, I believe, a 7-footer.
It's shameful.
And getting baskets.
Yeah.
Like, that game came down to the wire. It came down to a clutch free throw, which that guy did, even during the timeout, did not leave the free throw line. He stared at that rim the entire time. ACU had never won a tournament game ever. It's never even been. It was our first real tournament game outside of the first four. And they beat Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're not going to talk about the second game at all. We're not going to talk about it. ACU did great. And then Loyola Chicago having that magic again against Illinois, which as an Ohio State fan, I appreciate that because they didn't just beat Illinois. They whooped Illinois.
They handled them for sure. They handled them. That was insane. I couldn't believe that one. Yeah. That was wild. That was wild.
Like, just think about how many one basket games there have been between like Rutgers and Houston, Texas Tech and Arkansas, Abilene Christian versus Texas.
I mean, even in the first four, we had UCLA and Michigan State presented by Rocket Mortgage went to overtime. I mean, that game was close. The first four had 2 1-point games, if I remember. I don't remember which ones. Like Drake, I think 1 by 1.
Creighton 1 by 1.
There you go. Yeah, and they're in the Sweet 16. That's a team that 1 by 1. They're in the Sweet 16. Like that's crazy.
I
want to say while you're combing through, I said, damn it, when you mentioned the Abilene Christian Texas game, because I was going to say, what's been your favorite game so far in this tournament? And that was going to be mine, actually, because you have the smallest school in the tournament beating the biggest state out there in Texas. And just, I mean, talk about David Goliath and this matchup, and it's super fun. And how it, like you said, how it shook out, how it ended up being. I mean, imagine being a guy from Abilene Christian on the free throw line, down 1, and you've got 2, and I mean, and you've got these absolute stones to stand on that line, look at that basket, and go, tied? Are you gonna take a timeout? I'm standing right here until I give this team the lead. Cool. Are we back? Did y'all get your ads? You know what beer you're going to buy after I win this one? Got it. Let's go. 2, lead, over. I mean, just the stones on him. It was crazy. It's got to be my. Ice in the veins, baby. I mean, ice in the veins, D'Angelo Russell style, ice in the veins. I mean, that was going to be my favorite one. So while you were cut, that's why I was like, damn it, I wanted to sneak that one in there myself because obviously, the second round they did not perform as well. But no. I mean, sometimes that it just further proves that when you catch lightning in a bottle in this tournament, so that's what happens. I mean, they very easily. No disrespect, but they very easily could have lost that game to Texas by 20. If a couple things go the way they numbers say they should have gone. So but that's the fun of the tournament, man. It's the fun of the tournament. It really, really is. I mean, and you know what, my bracket being the way it is, and Michael's bracket being the way it is right now, honestly, to me, just further proves my theory for the last 10 years, that the more you think about college basketball specifically, or sports really in general, when you sit there and you overthink games and you think you're really getting down in the dirty and you're looking at well, their defense can do this, but they can shoot three, and you're doing all this, that you're overthinking it and you're gonna mess up, and then that one thing you're just gonna be wrong. Whereas the person who doesn't know a lick and it's just going off of colors and mascots and what sounds right, and I've heard of North Carolina before, and throw them on, they're the ones that end up winning the whole your group. So it's always fun. We do have two other double-digit seeds I wanted to talk about real quick. So the 11 seed Syracuse Orange, I told y'all to respect their zone. I told you. Go back and watch it. It's Pat. On video.
I know. So sorry, with you Pat. There, Chris, because we both rooted for them on the board. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you because no one else told you guys to attack a zone.
That they were that their zone, for whatever reason, nobody seems to know how to handle it. Like, there's so much. The funny thing is that there's years and years and years of footage on this thing, and everyone sees it and they're like deer in the headlight. Like, I don't know what to do. What is this magic? The only person who knows how to attack
a zone is T.J. McConnell, and he's on the Pacers.
The big thing with that particular zone is that they rotate so well. It's hard to cover because the way you beat a zone is usually a drive and a kick or a pick and a roll. You get a guy in space. You have to hit your threes because that's what they're trying to give to you. But they rotate so well that even those threes that a normal zone would normally leave open, you're contested. And you can't kick the ball out fast enough and move it around fast enough to get consistent good shots and consistent good looks. So you're just kind of throwing up prayers. So Syracuse has done that extremely well.
Yeah, you are absolutely hitting the nail on the head there. What makes that Syracuse zone so special is their rotations, and because like you mentioned, the way to break a zone or to score against a zone is to break it, is to actually have it collapse on itself, to work inside outside. It isn't even necessarily about hitting threes or jump shots. It's just about movement and getting those defenders to collapse, and then you have space, because then you go inside, outside, and then you can even kick it back inside if you've got those defenders moving. The problem is Syracuse doesn't collapse. They just kind of rotate. So there never really is any penetration. It's almost like a circle, like a spinning circle, instead of almost like a star kind of collapsing on its point. It's a circle that just keeps rotating. So congrats to Syracuse. They have, again, played a fantastic tournament. They beat 6th seed San Diego State 78-62. They crushed them. And then they handled, in a close game, 3-seeded West Virginia. Sorry, Pat. 75-72. And then the last double-digit seed is one we already mentioned, kind of 11-seed UCLA, who won their play-in game over Michigan State University, presented by Rocket Mortgage, 86-60 in overtime, and then beat 6-seed BYU 73-62, and then finally beat 14-seed Abilene Christian 67-47 to advance to the Sweet 16. I do actually want to give us a little bit of credit here for UCLA, just because we did predict Michigan State University, presented by Rocket Mortgage, to win these games that UCLA has won. It's just unfortunate that it's UCLA and not Michigan State University, presented by Rocket Mortgage. So it
play in winner still got it.
It is what it is. Yeah, play in winner. Yeah. So, but hey, that it's great. All of this that we've talked about has just been the first 2 rounds of the tournament. We still have more rounds, guys. We've got games kicking off this weekend. We've got Saturday. We've got games starting. Our first game is going to be Saturday at 2:40. It looks like it is 12-seeded Oregon State versus that 8-seed, one of the Cinderellas, Loyola Chicago, at 2:40. So that one is going to be really fun to kick off the Sweet 16, right, guys? I mean, that's That's a good matchup. We're talking about a 12 seed or an 8 seed advancing to the Elite Eight.
And like I said before, Loyola Chicago just finds ways to win. And Oregon State has played really well. They have fought off some tough wins, but I know, me personally, I don't see them taking down Loyola Chicago, but this is going to be a really entertaining game to watch, and that's going to kick off the Sweet 16. So sit down, get your wings, get your beer, and be ready, because it's going to be another just wild Saturday and Sunday for college basketball.
Yep.
I mean, think about how confident Loyola has to be right now.
I mean, they should be.
Think about how, like, they just beat the number 1 seed Illinois. Well, fair enough. But but for real, like, as a team, they've got to be so confident. They're coming off a solid, almost dominating win over a number 1 seed Big Ten tournament winning team in the Illinois Fighting Illini. I mean, it doesn't get more.
Mojo, chill, bruh.
Buddy, I'm doing something here. I'm doing something.
Get out of here, Mojo. Get out of here.
Get out of here. We're filming here. What are you doing? You're filming here.
What? You need your time in the spotlight?
Mojo heard us talking bad about Oregon State and decided, I'm not having this slander today.
I forgot. That's where he went to college, guys. I'm so sorry. I forgot. He's super excited. He says it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough living in this house. Let me tell you what.
He's gonna be so sad.
I'll
be crying.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I bet you, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. I bet you Loyola is probably the most confident team in the field right now. I mean, just with the way their tournament has gone so far.
There's one other team that I feel like is more confident, but we'll get to them later.
Okay. They start with Oral.
Is there? All right, guys. So that's, you know what? That's gonna be my Sweet 16 game to watch. Is going to be that one that's kicking it off, that Oregon State Loyola game. I think that's going to be a great matchup. What game's catching your guys' eye besides that one?
Well, Tade, go ahead.
I'm going to say upset alert, UCLA over Alabama. And I want to watch that game.
Okay. We're gonna get our picks right. That's going to be the one technical pick we got right.
I mean, I hope so. I'm going to bet on that game.
It's going to be really exciting, actually, because Bama, while they played really well, I don't know. That UCLA team's playing well above that ranking.
Yeah.
Well above their ranking.
They're sneaky good in this sense.
Just that defense locks down. Sometimes that offense can't really like overpower, but that defense keeps them in games constantly. Love it. I'm going to talk about that one team that I feel like is more confident right now than Loyola Chicago. And I know y'all saw that USC Kansas game. And what USC did to Kansas should be a crime. That was embarrassing. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I feel bad for Kansas fans, because that is a team that has perennial Final Four expectations, if not national championship expectations. To get blown out by USC the way that they did was just criminal. And going up against another good team in Oregon, like this, wrap up the Sweet 16 on Sunday night, that's going to be a fun, entertaining game to watch. And I'm super excited for it. I'm ready for it.
All right. Well, taking a look at our collaborative bracket, by the way, giving us a little update. As far as potential Elite Eight teams left in it, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 teams that we predicted that still could make it to the Elite Eight. We have 2 in the Final Four, and we still have our national champion, Michigan. So we're okay. Our bracket is kind of survived this crazy first 2-round storm, and came out a little hobbling, but still alive, but still floating. Where Michael and I's individual ships, I think, are kind of at the bottom of the sea. So, hey, it happens every year. It'd be doing
better if Michael just submitted to Oral Roberts being a great school and a great basketball program.
Better to God.
Better than Ohio State, who hasn't won in how long?
I hope they hang a banner. Oh. I hope they hang a banner. Just
Oral Roberts, I hope so too.
Remember when we beat Ohio State? That was fun.
Is this the Colts?
I love how I literally wrote down.
Put up conference finalists up there as a banner.
Yeah. Oh man.
I love how I wrote down too, when I was writing down the games for this weekend. I literally said like Oral Roberts. Yes, I'm still angry. It's been
really
a week
wanted
and a
to see
half.
the Indianapolis Zoo.
Hey, I can't. Hey, I'll tell you, I cannot. And all joking aside, I cannot blame Michael for being upset. I mean, that's your team. You're like, it's hard to appreciate. It's for real though. It's hard to appreciate a 15 seed doing what they're doing when it came at the cost of your potential championship level team being the first victim. It's hard to find yourself, like, it's hard to root for this team and appreciate the history of, like, hey, they're only the second 15 seed to ever do it. And of course they had to do it to my team. I mean, it's like asking, for real, it's like asking Virginia fans to be excited that, you know, for UMBC to be the first 16 seed to win. And, you know, your Virginia fans like, well, yeah, but did they have to beat us? Like, come on.
Florida fans were happy Oral Roberts beat them because now they're like, we can fire our coach.
We know one Florida fan at least who was happy that game ended up. I think he was happy for two reasons. Let's be honest. One, you're right. He's like, this might lead to Florida firing their coach. Two, I think he was happy just to be right. Like that he told us they're going to win one game and lose in the second round because they're so inconsistent, and that's exactly what happened. And he was like, "See, I told you." He's like, he would rather be right than his team win, and I respect that.
I do want to say one thing because I feel like it needs said. I may be upset that Ohio State. I mean, they lost a tough game. They had a chance to win. We get it. It's sports. It happens.
Yep.
Move on. If you are one of those pieces of human trash that is sending death threats to those kids, those college players, they're in college, they're kids, they're young, and you're sending death threats over a tournament game? Screw you, man. Yeah. No, that is awful.
It doesn't get much lower than that. I agree. Yeah, I could not believe the messages that he shared. And I can't imagine what the ones he decided not to share read like. So
I'm really proud he's deciding to talk about it and deciding. He said, "No, I'm not going to shut up. Like, this is something that this happens to a lot of people, like athletes and their family and friends. Like, this happens. They get it. You mess up, everyone gets, all of a sudden their life is at risk." Yep. Like, it's the same thing with like referees in the sports world. Like, a lot of people just take this.
They're just trash.
Too far.
Referees cheat.
Well,
there are examples of that where they cheat.
They don't deserve for their family and friends to have their lives threatened.
True.
Of course.
I mean, hey, look at Marcus Smart. You guys remember that a couple years ago? What was it against Texas? Fan comes out, says the N-word to him. He's just like, I'm going to fight this fan. A lot of it's unfortunate that we have to watch kids for entertainment like this, and not understand they're amateurs. They're not being paid for this because the NCAA is crap.
Yeah, you're nail on the head again there. These are kids. They're human beings. They're amateurs. They are not machines. They are not puppets. They are human beings first and foremost. And just like every single other human being that has ever existed and will ever exist, they're going to make mistakes and they're not perfect. That is what makes them human. And yeah, if you have to stoop so low as to take your anger out by direct messaging another human being, that level of just language and threatening and anything, you have way bigger issues than that. And it's because I love sports to death and I get irate over them. I can go in the other room and grab Beth and she knows there have literally been times that she is like, "You are so loud. I have to close the bedroom door and hold the dog because she is shaking because she doesn't understand what's going on." Now, granted, that has happened both when I'm very happy and very mad. So it's not all bad, but
same thing with me
but never in my wildest dreams would I even imagine actually sending a message to anybody, let alone an 18, 19-year-old child that is doing this for that has already achieved more than I will ever achieve, and it is already greater than most of us will ever be. And to try to take them down because they had a moment of imperfection is more of a reflection on you than it ever will be on them. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because that was so far beyond the line. You can't even see the line from where that was. There's no gray area in that. There's no space for that. There's no justification for saying anything like those messages.
Maybe they had diabetes, Chris. We don't know.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he may have just needed you know what? Snickers has it right. You are definitely not you when you're hungry. So you can't be held accountable for what I mean, I have my Pepsi
roasted to oblivion though.
I have my mango Pepsi right here for just such occasions, because man, if I go a couple of minutes,
don't you know?
If I go a couple of minutes without caffeine or sugar or something, who knows what I might say. All right. Well, not only. All right. I guess I gotta steer this. I gotta steer the ship back. Okay. Whoo. There we go. Crying. Okay. So not only this week did we have the kickoff of the NCAA tournament for the first time in 2 years, we also had the NBA trade deadline this week, guys. And one of us, shall stay nameless, was like, I don't think this is going to be a very busy NBA trade deadline. And the other two were like, have you ever seen any trade deadline in any sport ever? Interesting. So, shocker, that person was wrong. It was a very, very busy NBA trade deadline from all the way
busy.
Yeah, Todd.
For good teams,
say that. For good teams.
I mean, you're right. For teams that are in positions to continue to what they call win basketball games, yeah, they were probably taking an extra long nap today and relaxing. But
really quick, did you see the Pacers tweet earlier today? When I guess the deadline got closer, they were like, "I'm somewhat of a GM myself."
That one. That's perfect. They were like, everybody in our mentions today, I'm somewhat of a GM myself. And I was like, yes. I even showed that to State, Michael, actually, before I left work, I showed that. It was great. Sorry, I'm trying to find. Okay, so the NBA trade deadline was today. Michael, you did a lot of work on this one. So why don't you kick us off real quick while I'm trying to find this?
All right, so we started off with, again, I thought for sure that this was going to be a little bit slower just because of the potential cap hits and where the teams were kind of at right now, that there wasn't going to be a whole lot of action. I did want to shout out, Houston Rockets, snap your 20-game winning streak, 20-game losing streak. Okay, moving on. LaMelo Ball out for the year. Get well soon, man. You had a hell of a year. Look forward to year two. And then we're gonna actually get into the trade deadline because that's the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. This went wild. So Orlando just had a fire sale, an absolute fire sale. I knew the Aaron Gordon trade was going to happen because he requested a trade. He outright said he was frustrated. He is done. He's fed up with the Magic organization. I don't blame him. That team has always been middle of the road at best and not really moving it to get better. I did not imagine Vucevic, Fournier, and Aminu would also be gone from that team, especially Vucevic, who has been the face of that franchise and extremely underrated for that franchise for so long. And Chris, I was telling you earlier, it's going to be super weird to see him in anything else other than Orlando on his chest.
Yeah.
But Aaron Gordon, I mean, and the Nuggets, they gave people away was the weird part. So Gordon and Gary Clark go to the Denver Nuggets, and they got back Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, and a 2025 first-round pick. So you're not getting any immediate return for a potential star. You're going to wait 4 or 5 years to see what that pick turns into. So that was a little rough. Vucevic and Alfred Camino go to the Bulls for Otto Porter Jr., Wendell Carter, and 2 first-round picks. And I still don't feel like that was enough for the type of player that Vucevic is.
No, definitely not.
But Otto Porter Jr. was I was kind of surprised they got him. out of all of that. A younger player still has a lot of talent left. Like, he still hasn't become what they assumed that he would become. And then Evan Fournier, also with tweet of the year, going to Boston for 2 second-round picks. And if you don't know what we're referring to, who wants to say it? No, who wants to say it?
Ladies and gentlemen, please Google his last name and see what comes up.
There you go.
We're not going to tell you what it is on air. That is a little bit too inappropriate, everyone.
Sure.
So I hope you guys Googled it. I Googled it today, and I was just like, I wonder what it means. I was just like, I regret this.
Is that what it means? That's what it means. He spoiled it for you. It just means you regret this.
It was hilarious, though. Like, good on him.
No. I have to interject because you said that was tweet of the year, and the tweet of the year did happen today. You were right. But it was not Evan Fournier. It was Terrence Ross.
I forgot.
It was Terrence Ross. Yeah. So Terrence Ross, basically the only one left on the playoff, the reigning playoff team, Orlando Magic at this point. So the best part is I got the notification from ESPN or Bleacher Report that was like Terrence Ross's tweet with a GIF sums up perfectly his reaction after all of his Magic teammates are traded, whatever. And my first thought, without looking at the tweet, is I was like, oh, I bet he used that empty living room from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with Will Smith just standing there looking around with nobody around. I was like, that's probably it. That's I was like, that's a good one. Awesome. And then I happened to see it and I was like, oh, it's not that. This is better. And it's great. And he literally tweeted, no caption, no nothing. It's not needed. All he tweeted was, look at me. Look, I'm the captain now. It's so perfect because there's nobody there. Who else is going to be the captain? It's amazing.
It's called 1v5 basketball, everybody.
I mean, apparently. But yeah, as you mentioned, Orlando moving on from not just Aaron Gordon, who, as you said, did request a trade, so no one's really surprised that he was gone. Yeah. But, I mean, Vucevic, their only all-star, Evan Fournier, and Prince Aminu, or Arukiminu, and, I mean, Aaron Gordon and also Gary Clark. I saw something. Did you guys see the tweet that said 100% of the Garys in the NBA just got traded today? Yeah. There's only 3. It was great.
Gary Clark for Gary Harrison. They got a Gary for a Gary. All right.
It was great. It's solid work. And you know what? Shout out Denver going and getting JaVale McGee. It's a good one.
I made sure to put that in here just for you.
Thank you. But okay, so I'm actually, I think all of these are on here. So real quick, I found the article I wanted to go on. Shout out Bleacher Report for putting this great article together. It's highlighted the top 19 trades. So we're just going to kind of run through them, and then any that we want to really dive into, we'll talk about. So the first one, JJ Redick moves to Dallas. Dallas gets Nikolai Melli. I apologize in advance if I mispronounce any of these last names, but I will do my best.
Shameful.
As a white American man,
professional
I will do my
podcast
best.
host.
Shame. Yes. Where's my paycheck? Dallas gets JJ Redick. The Pelicans got James Johnson, Wes Iwundu, and a 2021 second-round pick. So not a lot given up for one of the best sharpshooters in the game of the last few years. Obviously, he's had a little bit, a down year or so, but he's still JJ Redick. He's still going to hit those shots. So Dallas trying to make that second half postseason push, gets a sharpshooter off the bench. I think it's a good move. And Bleacher Report graded it as a B+ move for the Mavericks. So that's pretty good. And the next one they mentioned, here we go. We'll just get right into it. Victor Oladipo to Miami. Before we get into this trade, can I just shout out the Pacers organization for once again, twice now in 5 years, the Pacers, a small market competitive team, has had to deal with a superstar level guy who's not happy and forcing his way out. And most small market teams, especially, would I'm not going to lie, would crumble. They would crumble. They would turn into the Bulls post Jordan. Or Cleveland post LeBron is a more apt, I think, comparison. Not saying Paul George and Victor Oladipo are anywhere near LeBron and Michael Jordan, but the comparison is there. You've got your one guy, and then he's gone, and now all of a sudden you don't have anything. The Pacers didn't panic, and they didn't blink in either of these instances. Obviously, with Paul George, they were able to get Oladipo and Sabonis, two all-star level guys, and Sabonis is now a back-to-back all-star.
Yeah.
So, I mean, congrats on that. That's amazing to do. And then to turn around and do it again when Oladipo essentially forces his way out. He wanted to go to Miami. He wanted to go to Miami. Indy didn't blink, and they trade him early in the year before really I think anybody kind of knew anybody was really ready for it. They get in on I think they just kind of saw that Houston was moving Harden, and Indy saw a chance to kind of jump in there and force their way as the third team in that deal. And they end up swinging Oladipo to Houston for Karis LeVert from Brooklyn. And I was talking to State earlier today, one of our writers, who's a big basketball fan, bigger than both of us. I was telling her, I was like, man, if the Pacers had traded Oladipo today before the deadline, I don't think they get Karis LeVert.
No.
Or a package level deal, because look at what Houston just got for Oladipo. They just got Avery Bradley, who I didn't even know was on the Miami Heat roster. I'm not going to lie to you.
He's been injured. He's been out. So yeah.
Yeah. So they get Avery Bradley, Kelly Olynyk, and they do a pick swap for the 2022 first round pick with swap rights. So not a lot for an all-star level guy when he's healthy. They don't get a lot. And I would take Karis LeVert over that entire package right there, just on its face. So a shout out once again to the Pacers organization for not crumbling, not panicking when they have a star force their way out, and they use what they can and make it work. And now you're still looking at, now imagine, I know Warren is now officially out for the year. That news broke earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunate, but get healthy. We need you for the long haul. It's okay. It's fine. It sucks, but it's fine.
Yeah.
But guys, just imagine a starting five, if you will, for the Pacers. Ready? You've got Brogdon, LeVert, Warren, Sabonis, and Turner. Tell me that starting five can't compete with any starting five out there right now. Seriously, when that team is healthy and that five is great. And then you still have good pieces off the bench and McConnell and everything. But this is turning into a Pacer segment. That's not what I wanted. But just again, shout out the organization for being able to get good deals done as a small market team that didn't have a lot of leverage in either of those deals.
Shout out to Oladipo. He got to where he wanted it in the end.
Yeah, but
they're not going to pay him.
That's true.
Yeah, they're not going to pay him in the offseason. But, hey, they got his bird rights.
There for now.
So good for them.
I did see that where they're like, this is essentially think about it. It's essentially a tryout for him in Miami the rest of this year, because if he doesn't perform, they have no obligation to pay him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild how it worked out.
Avery Bradley and Kenny Olynyk, that's not a bad return for Houston, especially Avery Bradley.
Avery
I'm
Bradley.
kidding. Houston.
It'd be great
Houston
if Avery Bradley
is just
was on a playoff team.
Okay.
Their front office. I'm sorry. Houston just you want to go here? All right, you got it. Oh, you want to go here? All right, you got it. Just everybody gets to go where they want, that as long as it's not here.
Except John Wall.
I don't get it.
John Wall.
He's trapped.
John Wall.
Somebody save John Wall.
Again,
this.
He was trapped in Washington. He got hurt. He got out of that team into what looked like a good Houston team. And then it fell underneath him, and now he's trapped there. And they're probably worse than Washington is right now.
And people hate Washington with Russell Westbrook on it, but now they're doing well. And now it's like, hey, he's a good teammate.
It's crazy. It's wild.
There's something else I do really want to talk about, though. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Yeah, they traded away George Hill. But have you guys seen how many picks they're going to have over the next 7 years?
It's like, what, 27 picks or something like that?
34.
Split down the middle between first round and second round.
You have 17 first rounders over the next 7 years.
And people thought
don't need all those to hit.
A pick hoarder. Jeez.
They don't need all those to hit. You need 3 of those 17 first round picks to hit. Or you have so much picks banked up that Oklahoma City Thunder team could instantly be competitive if they really wanted to move those picks.
They competitive last year, for goodness sake. It's crazy.
Yeah. They can literally go and move. Think about, you don't even have to draft those 17 first rounders. You can make 4 amazing packages think about what you could get 3 first-round picks, right? Just think of the level of player you can get with 3 first. They could do that 4 times and still have 5 first-round picks in the next 7 years.
Yeah.
Without giving up a second rounder, where they still have 17 second rounders.
I bet they take good players from bad teams.
They could
John Wall.
go,
Oklahoma City Thunder needs to save John Wall.
Not with that contract.
They won't. It's true. But yeah, they could do that. We've got that was amazing. We'll highlight them again here in a second. We got
Shout
Lou Williams
to Philly as
back.
well, though, because Philly got George Hill. Yeah. That's a great addition for them. So
I know I don't want to I don't want to root for him because I don't like Philly and I love me some George Hill, so I'm really conflicted. But I wish him the best, and I just hope Philly loses, but he plays fine and goes somewhere else.
Austin Rivers, poor Austin Rivers, has been traded by Doc Rivers twice. That poor kid.
He doesn't like his son. It's okay. He didn't like him as a kid. Doesn't like him now.
Remember, I wonder how he broke the news to him. He's like, so you remember your 9th birthday when you said this, it was the worst day ever? Well, you were wrong, idiot. You're gone. Boom. Traded you again, sucker.
Hope you like Oklahoma City.
Wasn't he on New York earlier this year too?
No, he went to the Thunder, I thought. Yeah, he goes to the Thunder. Even though it was a 3-team trade.
Yeah.
The Knicks got Terrence Ferguson.
What do we think about this Hawks and Clippers trade with Lou Williams and a 2023 second round pick, a 2027 second round pick, and some cash going to Atlanta for Rajon Rondo going to the Clippers? Tade, what are you thinking here?
The Clippers are the smartest franchise in the league during this trade deadline. Oh my goodness. They got rid of the worst defender in the league. Well, I'd say second worst because, Trae Young exists right now. Sorry. But hey, you know what? Lemon Pepper Lou gets to go home to Atlanta. Good for him. And the Clippers get a playoff caliber point guard who was amazing last year in the playoffs for the Lakers. Congrats to Rajon Rondo. He might get 2 LA rings back to back. Wrong LA team.
How crazy would that be? How crazy would that be for Rondo to do that? Because think about it. Then he would have a Celtics ring, a Lakers ring, and a Clippers ring. So you've got 3 teams that hate each other and at one point have rooted for the same player and have won it all with the same player. That's wild.
This is a playoff move, and it's a smart move for the Clippers. It's just genius.
Okay. I like it. I do like the move. I actually think, I think it works out for the Clippers. As you mentioned, they get a great backup point guard, if you will, to come off the bench in those clutch moments, that playoff time. He's a veteran guy. He has 2 rings for a reason. He knows how to not only lead teams, but he knows what basketball move to make in the moment in clutch time. So that's a great move. Yeah. Let's see. What next one should we talk about? No, there were so many moves. Yeah, we talked about George Hill to Philly. The Knicks. So it was a 3-team deal where the Knicks got Terrence Ferguson, Vincent Poirier, a 2021 second round pick from Philly. OKC got Tony Bradley, Austin Rivers, a 2025 and 2026 second round pick, both from Philly. And Philly got Ignas Brazdeikis and George Hill. So, that's a good deal. Like I said, I think, again, you want to talk about like the Clippers acquiring Rondo for a smart, backup, capable playoff point guard. That's exactly what Philly does here with George Hill. So they get a great 6th man off the bench to just help facilitate that team in the playoffs and be a veteran guy because he's been there. Even though he doesn't have a ring, he has been there with a lot of different teams now. He was part of Milwaukee's run. He was obviously a big part of the Pacers' runs to the back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals. So
the Cavs run as well.
And the Cavs run. You're right. Yeah, that's true. So, he knows what to do in those big game situations as well. Michael, what do you think of the George Hill? True. Michael, what do you think of the George Hill move?
I love George Hill. He's a Indiana guy. I love George Hill. Philly needed a guy like that on their team. Ben Simmons is a solid player, but George Hill is a true point guard. He manages the game. He does really, and especially with teams that have superstar talent, George Hill's been around those teams for years, whether it's San Antonio or the Pacers when they had, that team with Roy Hibbert, David West, Danny Granger, Paul George. Like, he knows how to work around these superstar players and honestly get the most out of them. And the fact that he is settling into a role player now into his career, like, this is a move that Philly needed to make, especially with a coach that knows that, his ass is on the line. This is a win or bust season for Philly, especially with all the moves they made. The process is done. Like, you can't just keep passing it off to next year, passing it off to next year, passing it off to next year. I expected Philadelphia to try and do something, but I'm more shocked, honestly, at the moves that didn't happen.
Yeah.
There were definitely
moves left out there. I think highlighted most probably by Kyle Lowry staying in Toronto, even though he was being pursued by multiple playoff teams. So we'll see how that shakes out for everybody. If it was the right move for him to stay in Toronto, or, if there's a team down the road, if there's a team that falls short, say in the conference finals, that could have used him, maybe things would have shifted differently in the league. I do think Kyle Lowry is one of those guys that can shift a playoff series, whether he's on, if he's on your team or on the opponent's team. So that would be a big one. We talked about the Aaron Gordon deal. I just realized, looking at it now, first, two things, one for each team. How much fun is the front court of Denver going to be now with Aaron Gordon and Jokic and Nikola Jokic there? Holy crap. That's going to be amazing. I don't want to go against that front court. City. That's going to be insane. That's as close as I think we're going to get. But then the Joker. You know what? The Magic actually didn't. I don't think they really got fleeced here in the Aaron Gordon deal. I think they made a good move again for a guy that requested a trade, wanted out. Everybody knew he was going to be out. So your leverage gets severely slashed when that happens around the league. It's just the way it is in business. It's not even sports. It's not even basketball. It's in business. When you don't hold that card in your hand, when you let the other side of the table know, hey, he actually really wants to come here, the leverage shifts. You still have to try to make the best of it. And I'm looking at it, and Gary Harris is a solid pick back. RJ Hampton is a good piece. But most importantly, I know it's a couple of years away, but they got a 2025 first-round pick that's top 5 protected. So think about, you're turning Aaron Gordon into a top 5 pick. Now, granted, I know that we're talking 4 years down the road, so that first-round pick right now is a 14, 15-year-old. But Bronny is about 15, 16 years old.
You think they made the move to get Bronny in Orlando?
No, but I'm just saying that's about the age group right now that we're talking about. But they turned their superstar, their one big piece outside of Vucevic, into a top 5 protected pick. So, you're not wrong there. So they did what they could do, I think, in this situation where they had to move him, and there was no real reason to hold on to him this year past the deadline for Orlando. It's not like Orlando's making a run. It's not like they need him for the rest of this year. So that's not bad. The Magic, I didn't realize in that Celtics deal with the Magic where they got Evan Fournier, or they traded Evan Fournier, they got Jeff Teague back. Orlando did. So, I know, but that's a piece. You got Jeff Teague and 2 second-round picks.
Piece.
Yes.
Trash piece. Not good piece.
Well, you want to talk about a good piece? You want to talk about a good piece that got moved? Let's still another Orlando Magic player. Let's talk Nikola Vucevic going to Chicago. How great is that? Now Chicago, he's going to become the second option there in Chicago behind Zach LaVine, and that team. That's a young, upcoming team in a weakened Eastern Conference that I think maybe not this year, but man, if Levine's career trajectory keeps going the way it is, and now if Vucevic's career trajectory keeps going the way it is, I mean, you've got obviously 2 all-star pieces there. And in the game of basketball, let's be honest, it doesn't take a lot more than that to at least put a competitive team on the floor. Now, granted, I don't think that move it doesn't make them instant title contenders for this year or even next year or beyond. But now they're actually setting themselves up to be a decent destination for free agents. I mean, these are moves that is a domino kind of move that could bring a bigger guy, bring in a bigger fish. I mean, Vucevic is a good bait, I think, for a bigger fish down the road. So shout out Chicago for making a move. And I mean, they were in it. They were trying to get Lonzo too. Could you imagine if Lonzo had gone there and been the third scoring option and the point guard there? So now you have, I mean, if you have Lonzo running the offense there with Zach LaVine and Vucevic, that's a solid 3-man team right there. So
I was kind of shocked that they stayed committed to Lonzo in New Orleans. Like,
me too.
the fact that they came out.
Just because of all noise that was around it. Yeah. So very interesting, but yeah, definitely surprised, honestly. I really thought Lonzo would actually get moved. All right, I'm looking through this. I'm not seeing anything else that's super big. Is there any other trades that you don't think we mentioned?
Nothing that I saw that was large, no.
JaVale,
well, let's talk about who wasn't traded. Because
what you got?
If we look at like LaMarcus Aldridge wanted to be traded, was not traded. Tristan Thompson
now he's gonna just
was not traded.
True.
We didn't see the Toronto Raptors really go after a big,
Yeah.
So there's 3 moves that everyone was expecting, but nothing happened with.
I swore I saw something where like the Clippers were apparently in the running for LaMarcus A.
Ooh.
After he does his buyout.
Yeah, they couldn't really do it.
I honestly thought I saw Brooklyn.
Oh no, the Heat are now in the running for LaMarcus Aldridge. So that explains why they were just so quick. Like, oh hey, Kenny Olynyk. Bah!
Oh, that's true.
There were
2 players.
That's true. Now, Olynyk's spot is up for grabs, and LaMarcus Aldridge, I think, is a better Olynyk, so that's fine if that's the way they want to go.
Hey, OKC has to cut a player, so bye Miles Leonard also.
Yeah, and I, from what I was reading, post trade deadline was Pacers specific at least was the kind of feel right now is expect the Pacers to actually maybe go get a guy from a buyout situation because they released Jalen Leak. And obviously they announced that TJ Warren is out for the year. So now there's a spot to fill there. And if they felt comfortable releasing Jalen Leak, basically at the same time that they knew Warren's not going to be there the rest of the year, potentially look for them to pick somebody up on a buyout, probably not a big name, but somebody to fill that hole. And, not exactly this player, but the Twitter feed that I was reading was like, think the Wes Matthews type player, like the kind of under the radar, low risk.
So Rodney Hood when he gets bought out from Toronto, got it. I take
Rodney
Hood.
moved?
He's a stellar player. He
did get moved. I saw it. He got moved to
Toronto. Portland traded him to Toronto.
I saw it in this list. I know I did.
Yeah. It was really like I think it was part of the salary. They had to like shed salary for the trade to be made.
I gotcha. So what's one move that you guys really liked from the trade deadline? I will start us off. As I mentioned, that Vucevic to Chicago move. I love that move for the player and the team. I think Vucevic just moves from a kind of middle of the road Eastern Conference team that's going in the wrong direction to a middle of the road Eastern Conference team that is at least trying to head in the right direction. So he's in a better situation personally, and I think he's going to fit in really well with Chicago with kind of low expectations. He's not going to need to be the guy, in Chicago that's still Zach LaVine. And so you have two pieces there now, like I said, that can attract bigger free agents. I think this is the first domino for the Bulls to maybe start trying to actually field a good competitive team. So I really enjoyed that move because I didn't see it coming, and it makes a lot of sense too. So that was a move that stuck out to me today.
So a big move that I gotta love it. It's got to be Aaron Gordon going to Denver, because that team was already a ton of fun, and now you're adding in Aaron Gordon, dunk master. Aaron Gordon, robbed, should be a 2-time dunk contest champion.
Absolutely.
And him and Joker,
right?
Woo! Denver just got a whole lot more fun. I mean, I played more big boy basketball when I was a kid. I'm a bigger guy, and I played 3 and 4, and I love Aaron Gordon so much. Played the same position I did, and I gotta love that trade. I still wish that I would have seen a move for Lonzo, as that was a move that I really saw coming. I really I thought for sure when Kyle Lowry stepped off the court, he threw up the deuces, that he was gone too. I thought that the Lakers were going to be in the Kyle Lowry conversation with no LeBron and no AD. Yeah. And the Lakers just always seem to find these big name guys whenever one of their stars are hurt. But it didn't happen. Oh, well, we'll see what Toronto does now. But that was interesting for me. This has been a fun trade deadline today, though. That was a lot of fun to keep up with.
Sure.
Yeah.
Tade, what move did you love?
Obviously, my favorite move of this trade deadline was Lou Williams getting traded out of the Clippers organization and into Atlanta. And then
I love me some Lou Will, though.
6 man like Lou Will. Yeah, you know what? Great. He can shoot. He can't play defense, which, is needed in the playoffs. And now you get that with Rondo, who is stellar in primetime games and in playoff games. So he'll drop 20 and 10 and 6, get 6 boards with that too. Maybe a couple steals, he's a floor general. He knows what he's doing. Tyronn Lue liked him. He was on the staff last year of the Lakers, so they already have a connection, which is why the coaching staff likes him. So it's all settled, everybody. It's all good. My thinking is for the Lakers, why they probably didn't pick up anybody.
Yeah.
Buyout market, and DeMarcus Cousins doesn't have a team still.
Right.
Go back to the Lakers. Easy.
Yeah. So if there's one move that I wanted to see happen, really just for kicks and giggles and for chaos's sake in the NBA, just because I can't even imagine all of the storylines and everything that would have come with this move. Can you guys imagine the universe where Lonzo Ball gets moved from New Orleans back to the Lakers? Because, oh my God, that just would have been so chaotic.
Let's throw Brandon Ingram in that too.
We would have done no, just Lonzo, Lonzo for the storyline of it. We would have done 4 podcasts straight on Lonzo back to the Lakers, because it would have branched off into 97 different stories, and it just would have been so much fun on a chaotic trade deadline
detrimental
day.
To his health. I would not wish that upon that man. He can shoot threes now in New Orleans. He couldn't do that with the Lakers. He was horrible.
He's got Zion. Yep. The man took it on white kids.
Exactly.
All right. You know what?
He's his biggest fan.
Destroying high school kids.
You know what? I've got our producer in my ear. I'm looking at the clock. I think my clock just struck Tade time. So I think that's all the NBA trade deadline we needed, and I'm ready for Tade's betting segment. I think Tade is ready. He's been.
I'm not ready for this because I want to apologize to everybody because my picks last week. See, this is why I said college basketball games are trash, and I was right about that. Congrats. So I don't know why anyone listened to me when I said mash the higher tier seeds on that first day, because that was not a good idea. Whoops. I like to say also whoops. My UFC pick for Holland did not go out well. Whoops. Me saying trash to lower seed teams in the tournament kind of backfired the first day. Not the second day, though, so you're welcome there. It's kind of odd what to mash right now. For me, I've been betting a lot of overseas sports games, but what I think people should be betting on right now is the NCAA women's tournament.
There you go.
Okay. Women's basketball is not as high as scoring as men, and they play in quarters and not in halves. And I think this is an advantage bettors should take upon themselves. Bettors should look at taking the under on scoring for some lower seed teams when betting on the NCAA women's tournament. If you're betting on higher seed teams, bet the over for how many points they're going to score in a quarter. Typically, if you're a team like Indiana, you're going to score more points than a team like Belmont, who they're facing. Indiana's going to win that game, by the way, so cash that, but it's negative 5,000 odds, so you're not going to get much money. For the men's tournament, I suggest betting, of course. If you want an underdog to bet on UCLA. If you want somebody who's going to win, bet on Loyola College. Loyola Chicago. They have a policy school. Their policy school sends me emails and postcards all the time because, you want to do this, don't you? Loyola, I'm not paying you $50,000 a semester. I'm sorry. They're expensive. Let me tell you. Pay me. Out of state too. I'm not doing that.
Pay me $50,000 a semester. I'll figure something out.
Exactly. Trash picks right now. Watch out for betting on teams that just got new players in the NBA draft. There's the issue of chemistry. There's the issue of how will they perform when they just got traded. And also there's the issue of, maybe this was a bad fit for the team. Odds will be different now. They're not going to really change because, this new player on the team. Team was already doing a good record before. They could change. Teams like Chicago, you'll probably see them win some more games now with a better player on center. Something to look at. Otherwise, trash picks right now. You got to wait a couple games to see how they are. And those are my picks right now for the week.
All right. Well, you know what? I had so much fun last week opening up a Pokemon pack. So I was able to earlier this week go out and find a Pokeball tin that I did not have in my collection. So I'm super excited. Shout out my local card shop here in town for having this clutch tin earlier today.
Which one did you go to? Shout them out proper.
That would be P2 Collectibles here in Muncie. And it's just so hard to get product right now. So I was really thrilled and kind of extra excited when I walked in there and they actually had not only stuff, but stuff that I wanted and stuff that I had not had before. So it was super fun. But what's really cool about these tins is they don't look very big, and they're not. So they're what I really like about them is they are actually a really cool just display piece. So that's why I've tried to get one of each different design. But they have inside of the tin, I actually have not one, not two, but three.
No, not three. Packs. Where's the fourth one, Chris? Where is it?
There's only three. And they also have a coin, nice little coin in there. So really
Who's
cool.
the Pokemon on the coin?
Oh God, that is. I can't.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu.
I don't know. It's one that I am not so familiar with, to be honest with you. It's tough to tell. I can't think of. I can picture him, but I can't think of his name.
Is that the one from Sun and Moon?
I think so.
The one from one of the Ultra Beasts.
I think it is one of the Ultra Beasts, which is why I don't know who it is because I have no idea. But so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna open up. Yeah, I'm gonna open up one of these packs a week on the podcast. So we are gonna get started. We'll go right in the middle here with a base Sun and Moon pack for this week's Pokemon opening. And get this.
Cut it in half. Cut the cards in half, then look at them.
I am not cutting it in half.
Do it.
I will tell you that much right now. No, I will not be doing that, actually.
Good. You scared?
Yes, I am. So let's see. How did I do this last week? Where we kind of can see. So we're just going to kind of go off to the side here for each one. So we had a grass energy. That's a Boldor, right? Yeah, Boldor. Haha. I know things. That's a great ball.
Oh boy, a great ball. What a great find.
Past a minute. I was like, I can't think of his name. Oh, Rowlet. That's cute.
Aw.
That's cute. Look at that. Look at that little Rowlet. He looks like a Paper Mario character. Like
That's one of
the
Ash's
artwork.
Pokemon. That's for sure.
Yep. A Grimer who's just happy to see everybody. He says hello. Hello.
What a Lowen Grimer.
A Roland Grimer.
Sparrow.
It is a Spearow.
Sparrow.
I couldn't tell. This angle is so weird. Oh, little bug dude.
Grub it.
Grubbin. Okay. And is that a Spearow?
Yeah.
Go with the Spearow? It is a Spearow to go with the Spearow. Is that a level ball? That's
Trainer ball.
well, that's hilarious just because that's the ball. Hey, well, that's the ball that the tin's in. So that's kind of cool, actually.
That's great.
Not gonna lie. And then what's our rare card? It's junk. It's junk. Absolute junk. So
Trash.
that is the way it goes sometimes. No, it is literally just, it's not hollow, it's not anything, it's just a rare. It's a rare Bruxish. So
Well, that's dumb. That's more dumb than Michael's pick he's got to pick this week that's going to lose that everyone should bet against.
that, my friends, is a Pokemon pack opening. But you know what? Since we didn't get anything, I will show off one of my favorite cards in my entire collection. That is this absolutely incredible, adorable Pikachu card.
Was with you when you bought that.
Multiple. No, you were not. Multiple
What?
Pikachu cards. You were not with me when I bought this. I was with Beth down in Castleton because she found it and she picked it and was like, "Did you see this?" And I was like, "No, I didn't. Ring that up. Thank you." So shout out Beth for that one. So, oh, and here, I forgot. There is the code card. If you want yourself a Sun and Moon base pack, go right ahead.
I hope our follower just like who grabs those codes every week now is just like, yay! I want these for the codes.
Yes. He's gonna be really sad that one week I can't find any Pokemon cards to buy. It's in packs to open, and I won't have any.
Then you need to check the message I just sent you, Chris.
So I will do that when we are off the air because I am a professional. Damn it!
All right, let's do our picks of the week.
All right, that is Pokemon pack of the week. So Tade's picks of the week, Chris's pack of the week. Michael gets no gimmick. So. I mean, you don't have a gimmick yet. We'll find you one. You don't have.
Do you want a gimmick, Michael?
There you go. Yeah. Michael just does that. Michael does that while Tade's doing his picks and while I'm opening my pack. Michael's just down here, just the whole time. He's just vibing.
Welcome to a vibe, Michael.
All right, so we've got some fresh picks of the week. Actually, you know what? We're gonna switch it up. Tade, why don't you go first because Michael and I will round it out.
Because you guys don't have your picks right now, do you? Okay. I'll go first.
No. I'm sitting right here. Watch me. I have my pick. I'm going to sit here. You know, I won't be going on my screen at all. I got my pick.
I'm going to go with the pick ordained by God to win the next game, Loyola Chicago. Easy peasy. That's a win on my books. Let's go.
Oh, man. Okay.
Who else has a nun on their side? Oral Roberts, yes, is an evangelical Christian school made by a Native American man. I don't see them have a famous nun on their sideline. Now, do you? Huh?
Putting that history degree to use, aren't you, Tade?
Yeah, I had to look it up what they were named. The guy's name was Melvin Oral Roberts. Why didn't they put the first name in the school? Because that wouldn't make it cool.
Because it's Melvin. Yeah, because it's Melvin. Answered itself. Michael, save us. What's your pick?
Well, Chris,
you know what time of year it is. Yeah.
We know exactly what happens on April Fool's Day. America comes together, unified under one sport. And that, my friends, is none other than the most majestic, beautiful sport of all time.
The sport of fools.
Baseball. The Sport of Fools.
I'm pretty sure soccer is a beautiful game.
Opening day, and not in America. I said America.
Yeah, he did.
Still a beautiful game here.
We all know that football is the sport around the world, but in America, baseball is America's game, and April 1st is opening day. Now, this is important for two things. Not only does my Reds and Chris's Cubs take the mound, but we are also announcing something super special. Chris, take it away.
Yeah. So, so go ahead and give me your pick.
Oh, Reds, Cardinals. Reds win 3-2. There, done.
There you go. Okay.
Bet against it.
So, I slid my replica Cubs championship ring on for a reason. My pick of the week, I'm stamping it in. Opening day for my Cubs will come. Oh my goodness. Hold on. I had this up. Will come Thursday, April 1st as well. April Fool's Day is MLB opening day. They take on the Pittsburgh Pirates at home at Wrigley Field with fans in the stands for the first time in a year. They are not losing that game. Kyle Hendricks, the professor, will be teaching a class at 2:20 p.m. And you know what? I'm predicting an explosion of offense in that game. I'm telling it right now. I need eyeballs. Cubs over Pirates, 8-0. 8-0. Kyle Hendricks is going to go 8 innings of shutout ball. Mark it. Cubs win 8-0. Kyle Hendricks gets that opening day win.
It's hard to hit an 85-mile-an-hour fastball.
You say that like you're joking, but it's very true. MLB batters have been trying to figure it out for a couple of years now with him, and it is not easy.
Isn't that their job to hit those, though?
It's also the pitcher's job to pitch it where he can't hit it. So someone's got to do their job, right? But yeah, so a opening day win over the Pirates. I'm putting it on the books for my Cubs. But with the start of a new baseball season is that time of year. It's super special, not only to myself, to Michael, but to the rest of our 3C Media family and team members. So Craig, minus Tade. Full disclaimer, minus Tade. So Craig has graciously invited Michael and I, and perhaps a special guest. We are not sure just yet. Where our people are talking with his people. We're shaking out the details. We're trying to get ink to paper. All right, guys. You hungry people, you hungry wolves. Just stay calm. It's okay. We'll see what we can come up with. But at the very least, myself, Michael, and Craig will be on not the MCT podcast next week, but we will be on the Crash Course podcast next week. Monday night. It will be live Monday night. We will put the episode out for y'all to see Tuesday. We are going to do an MLB opening day special. And when I say MLB opening day special, I mean it is going to be all MLB for probably close to 2 hours. We're going to go division by division, award race by award race. I mean, we're going to deep dive into this upcoming MLB season. And even though Michael's not showing it right now, we are very excited for this opportunity, and it's going to be a lot of fun. That's kind of what Michael and I have been waiting for is talking baseball. So we've kind of actually held ourselves back from talking baseball a lot on our podcast through spring training, just because if we let ourselves go, we can kind of overshadow the whole thing and lose it. But we are going to be collabing next week with Craig. Also, like I said, a huge baseball fan and Cubs fan with me. So that's going to be super fun to team up and definitely give Michael's a safe space. Just kidding. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We are going to have so much fun diving into this season. I cannot wait for this season. I am really, really excited for this season. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, it will be live Monday night and then out on YouTube Tuesday, just like it'll be a regular episode, regularly timed episode of the Crash Course podcast next week. That's all I've got. Michael, excited for our baseball opening day special, man.
I am super, super hyped. Sorry, I got distracted. I heard some pretty loud thunder, so I was actually checking my radar to make sure I didn't have to Is it time to take shelter? No,
super funny that we're all in different cities because I was like, I don't hear nothing.
Oh, I just looked at the radar. Like Muncie's all chill, Fort Wayne's all chill, and then I'm apparently in a
It's raining
hurricane
outside, so I mean,
it is storming out here. Anyway, so everyone knows like I can rant about baseball very easily. Oh, yeah. It's the sport I grew up with. It's the sport I played the most in my life. That and basketball, and this is a huge opportunity for us. I know that me, Chris, and Craig have been basically like counting down. Like, yes, it's because it's either been we're talking about baseball or we're talking about MLB The Show. Like, It's just been nonstop this time of year. Usually we've already gotten going and it's been delayed. And so we're all just got that itch.
Yep.
We want baseball. We crave it. Whether it's going to be, new faces in new places or seeing teams shoot up out of nowhere. Like, this is going to be so much fun. And I'm so ready. I'm also sorry, White Sox fans, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, especially, I mean, after a shortened 60-game season last year, thank God we at least had a season, and it felt for the short time that we had it, it did feel like a regular baseball season. But man, it's going to be nice to go back to a full season. Now, granted, we'll deep dive on this because I would love to know everybody's opinions on this down the road. But I will tell you right now, I am so done with a 162 game season. It's way too long. It's too taxing for the players, for everybody, but we'll get in on that. But I am super excited to have a regular season, or as close to that as we're going to get in the year 2021. So like I said, catch us Monday night on the Crash Course podcast. Don't worry. We will still have our regular episode of the MCT podcast at its regular time, Saturday on YouTube the following week as well. Obviously, we'll be more than likely recapping the next crazy rounds of the tournament, and we'll be talking opening weekend baseball because that will have happened by that time. So sorry, Tade, but we're gonna talk some more baseball. So find something other than betting that you kind of want to talk about next week, and we'll give you a little time there so that
I'm on Clippers bets right now, so I'm good.
What's that, Tade?
I want some Clipper bets right now, so I mean, I'll take it. I'm good.
There you go. All right. You know what? I think that about does, guys. I think we said what we needed to say and we did what we needed to do. So let's call it a show.
All right, everybody.
All right.
See you next time.
We will see you next time. Week.